On today's episode of the Halloween 365 podcast, we step into the slaughtered lamb for a pint with Max Landis.
It's coming. Leave me alone. He doesn't believe me. Don't you know what happens on Halloween? Yeah, we get candy.
Welcome back to the Halloween 365 podcast.
It is the only podcast that is horror 24/7 and Halloween 365. And we've got a hell of an episode.
That is correct. God damn, we do have a hell of an episode. As you are watching this right now at the top of the hour, we've already had our interview with Sir Max Landis. It was a wonderful, wonderful episode. Probably my favorite episode that we've done. I almost feel like we should have saved this for like our 100th episode.
You're gonna rub it in on Jeremy.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Jeremy couldn't join us at the beginning of it there, but he's here with us now. And maybe next time.
Sorry, Jeremy. Sorry about that. Just the same as I'm sorry to report that there are 254 days until Halloween.
Mr. Landis,
long
we know
time,
you're watching this. I'm sorry I couldn't make it. I would have loved to have been there.
Don't listen to him, Max. He's a goddamn liar. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
Man.
I'm totally kidding. Yeah, no, it was a very interesting episode. I wanted to just take this moment to reflect a small amount about some of the stuff that you'll hear yourself as you listen to this episode. If you're a fan of American Werewolf, if you're a fan of DC, if you're a fan of wrestling, you're not going to want to miss this episode. It's going to be a lot of fun. And I hope to one day get him back on here to dive into a little bit more. We don't have any Halloween news at this exact moment that I'm aware of. Scream is around the corner. I know that there is a... What was that?
Say Evil Dead's just a couple months away.
Evil Dead as well. Yeah, just a couple months away. I kind of keep forgetting about that. I can't think of anything. Like I said, this is going to be a long episode, so just buckle up and enjoy every aspect of it. So without further ado, all right, so I am absolutely blown away right now. I'm actually fucking stoked that we have Max Landis on the goddamn podcast today, man. Like, this is so fucking cool. How are you, dude?
I'm good. I'm exhausted, and I feel like I look exhausted. I was out late last night. It was very strange. I went to a New Orleans party in Santa Monica. They had a brass band. It's pretty.
Oh,
that
nice.
sounds
That's
really
really
cool.
awesome.
And we watched Sami Zayn lose to Roman Reigns on the big screen.
God damn
I
it.
did the same thing, but on a smaller screen and no party.
It deflated the party.
Was everybody just like kind of fucking like...
It was, it was a party of like a lot of different people, but there was the big gang who all like wrestling. So like at one point in the party, like an influx of 15 bummed out dudes and 5 bummed out girls all entered the party from a room at the same time, miserable. And just the energy dropped through the floor.
Oh, man.
We were actually talking about that before we all got on this for the podcast. And one of the things that Chad said is a very good point, that if they were ever going to put the title on Sammy, last night was the night, because it was lightning in a bottle. It was one of the moments that you don't get again.
It was like CM Punk energy in Chicago when he was about to strip, right when he was making his exit, right? Like, that's the same energy.
Yeah, it was like when Cena had the title and he was coming through the ECW crowd and they were hitting him with trash and stuff.
Yeah. It's like,
you know what?
Man.
And then there's related moments to those moments emotionally and sort of storytelling wise, because there's Drew and Cardiff. That is total moment, and then it ended so weirdly with the sing along and the whole after such an emotional build. And what's really strange about Drew and Cardiff is it seems similar to Sammy in Montreal, but really they're really different, because Drew had already had the title twice at that point.
Yeah,
It doesn't mean that way.
Yeah, like empty arena, Well, for the first wave, right?
He got a full arena pop, didn't he?
Yeah.
He did. Yeah, maybe he did. Yeah.
There was that second Drew reign where it was like, oh, sure. Okay.
Yeah. Damn.
Was there a second Drew reign? There was, wasn't there?
I feel like, I could have sworn that maybe I'm
late stage
hallucinating
Vince
this,
McMahon
but...
dementia booking.
Yeah, I know, right?
I thought
It's
that
like, I
he
don't know
had that
what the
big.
hell is
His
going
I thought
on.
his biggest reign was during COVID, whenever they were doing the Thunderdome stuff.
That was the big ring.
Yeah,
was the
that
big
was the
ring.
first.
Yeah.
That was the first one
Where he killed
yeah.
Lesnar. And that had that great, that would have had a great WrestleMania build too, because the
It would have
build
been good.
started with Ricochet hitting Lesnar in the nuts.
Agreed.
And so
Yeah.
Ricochet
Oh,
was like
man.
weirdly weaved into it. And like, oh God, there's been a lot of good WWE, got a lot of good wrestling on TV.
Are you well, I mean, in general, you know, a lot of good wrestling. What do you think of AEW? Like what is your
I think
stance on
right
that?
now it's the cracks are showing in a way that is infuriating. I think more often than not, AEW programming is better than WWE programming from top to bottom. Because really, WWE programming feels like a lot of filler we're half invested in, the main plots, whereas AEW, it really is more of a choose your own adventure of who's getting over with you at that moment.
That's a good way
at
to
this
look
moment,
at it, yeah.
Except for what's starting to happen is the fact that the secret sauce of Vince McMahon's WWF, the unspoken, or maybe it is spoken behind the scenes, who knows? I worked for the WWE for a little while. I never heard of it talked about this way, but it's right there out in the open. The secret sauce of WWE, the emotion booking of the Attitude Era and all that, is the fact that they started writing it like a comic book universe. Yeah. They basically started, instead of writing it like a wrestling promotion, suddenly everyone was crossing over with everyone, and you never knew whose storyline was going to intertwine with whose. And when wrestling is at its best, you feel like you're watching a premium television. When modern TV wrestling is at its best, you feel like you're watching a premium television program on AMC back in the day, or HBO Max, or you feel like you're watching a good fucking TV show that gets you even more because it operates on this other primal level of like investment, because it's sport kind of. And like AEW does not feel like that right now. AEW feels like a bunch of random.
It doesn't. It did when it first started.
Yeah, when it first started,
I was so fucking immersed. I was like, "This is it. This is." I didn't want to say this is the WWE killer, because I don't think anything's ever going to topple that. That's an empire.
No, as a fan of WWE, I was scared at that point when AEW, because they were on a, and now it's really, really starting to look. I don't know what is going not correct as it was before, but now it's really starting to remind me of WCW days whenever they started winding down.
Oh no,
messy.
Yeah. It's not good. Jericho's just
poor Jericho. What the hell is his deal? He's so good at his job. Why is it like this right now?
I don't know. Like, he just keeps. I know they keep saying he's reinventing himself over and over and over again, but it's like, that's cool. The wrestling's consistent, but the storytelling is not consistent at all.
So,
and it's weird.
On the same topic of wrestling, on the topic of horror, and the leading off your storytelling, what you just said, Chad. Yeah. Max, what do you think about the Bray Wyatt thing right now? Because I'm a huge Bray Wyatt fan. We needed somebody to replace The Undertaker, but I don't know how to take what's happening currently.
So we'll circle back to Jericho. That I feel so delighted to be asked this question. And let me just say, Wyndham Rotunda, the guy who behind all these characters, I think he's brilliant. Bray Wyatt doesn't work. He's never worked. The booking has never delivered on the character. He hasn't even really delivered on the matches. This guy's character was ultimately built on the back. The superheat elevation came off the back of a feud with the Shield that told you that these guys were the main eventers of the future. The thing about the Shield that made them different from other invading groups like the Nexus or anything was that they were presented like three individual main eventers who were now the Watchdog, who were main event level guys somehow, who had come from nowhere, who were now the Watchdogs of CM Punk and then the Authority. And it was this whole intertwined thing that allowed this sort of soliloquizing Bayou mystic to seem like a really cool in-depth thing, but they never committed to it. They never explained who the Wyatts were. They've never explained how the magic works. They've never really given this character a backstory. I know what happened to Undertaker. I know exactly what happened.
That's a really good point.
His mother and father were murdered after his father's assistant at the morgue had an affair with his mom. And then in his childhood, this dude raised him, but had sacrificed his parents and maybe three little girls in order to get dark energy inside of an urn. And so he had this huge hulking guy, and he was like, I know how to make money with this guy. We'll put him in fighting competitions. And lo and behold, this thing, the Undertaker, this like mindless drone Hulk built off the murder of his parents, was used as a slave by a sick, depraved weirdo in fighting competitions. And then when he lost control of him, he revealed something even darker. He had kept his burned half-brother in the basement for years, who had grown into an even bigger guy, and he was even scarier. And he put a mask on this guy, and get how fucked up this is. He told this guy he was burned when he wasn't. And so this guy always wore a mask because he was afraid to show his face. Like Undertaker and Kane, it's like a comic book.
Yeah, fuck yeah, it is.
Bray Wyatt
100%.
is a guy doing movie quotes. You think you're in control? Follow the buzzards. These are all quotes from other things. Oh, what are you, fucking Comic-Con fanboy in a fucking Hawaiian shirt doing fucking Cape Fear, Robert De Niro? Like, give me a fucking break, dude. Stop saying, oh, man, oh, boy, oh, brother, when I'm in the darkness. Who gives a fuck, dude? The Firefly Funhouse match is like one of the best, coolest, most inventive, wonderful, surreal commentaries on wrestling ever. He's already a legend. Wyndham Rotunda in my eyes, he did it. He's brilliant. The stuff with the Shield, all of it, he's brilliant. He did it. He should have beaten The Undertaker at Mania. He didn't.
Oh,
he
God, yes, he should have.
Yes, that one big win in the Elimination Chamber that felt. Remember with AJ and Cena? Sorry, I could talk about it if you can't tell.
No, you're good. The whole Undertaker thing
we're
devastated
unapologetically
me.
Wrestling fans here.
Sorry, I'm on one, though. And where's the...
No.
What are the Wyatt Six? Why is this taking so long?
Yeah.
What I don't understand that. See, the fucking puppets. They're what? I don't get it now. Like we've got those people playing. They're people.
I
like,
really
what
don't
the fuck
want
happened?
a man in a
Is there
bunny suit
reason?
coming out to wrestle. I really
I don't either.
It's happened
what was
I know.
It's
Uncle
they're
Howdy?
they're the new Rosebuds.
Oh no, please no.
Oh, dude.
But is Captain Howdy like
Uncle Howdy shit? Captain Howdy. See, that's the other thing. The Howdy shit, right? Like I love when LA Knight called him. Yeah, it is. It's straight up from The Exorcist.
Is that like his cane? Is he like the Undertaker and that's his cane?
It's not clear. That's the thing. Is this Undertaker and Kane is a comic book storyline made real?
Yeah.
Bray Wyatt shit is all Cirque du Soleil and clowning. And I'm not saying clowning like he's a clown. I'm saying clowning like the French art of clowning. Like these exaggerated, campy displays. You know, the moment where Captain Howdy jumped off the thing and murdered LA Knight by not touching him. That was pure clown when they all came up like that. That's my friend Lydia's a clown in LA. You meet these people and she's brilliant, but she talks about wrestling in terms of clowning, and it really changes how I look at it, because some of it's really like when fucking Thatcher comes out, that's not clowning until he's making faces, and then it kind of is, and it's like this weird wrestling's so fucking cool. I'm sorry, I could talk
wrestling. No, it's awesome. I fuking love.
I'm
wrestling.
glad we started off on a wrestling conversation,
dude. Well, I mean, it's perfect. Elimination Chamber being last night, and I don't know. I'm a little heartbroken about Sammy not winning. I mean, of course, I knew he wasn't going to fucking win, but at the same time, it's just like if there was ever a moment, you guys missed the window, because now it's going to be overshadowed by Cody. No offense to Cody, love Cody, but. You missed the window.
You know how to do. You know what would have done it, right?
I want to hear your take. Let's hear.
You want to hear my pitch?
Yeah, I do. I need to know. I need to know.
I mean, you really want to hear? Because I know exactly what would have done it, and maybe one of the biggest WrestleManias of all time.
Yeah. Let's hear it. Let's.
Okay, so Montreal. Jay's in the ring. You know, the match is played out like it's played out. Jay's in the ring. Roman hands him the chair. Jay puts down the chair. Roman fighting with Jay. Sami Zayn, low blow Roman. Ref still out. Sami Zayn, title shot on Roman. Jay like, what the hell? Montreal crowd going crazy, but wait for the replay on Monday. Jay's like horrified because he just distracted Roman and Sami Zayn low blowed him, which is the ultimate betrayal. Title shot on Roman. Fucking Roman down. 1, 2, 3. Sami Zayn ends Roman's in Montreal after a low blow and a title shot via accidental distraction by Jey Uso.
Yeah.
Sami Zayn in the ring, both titles. And in Montreal. Right?
How oozy is that?
It would have been really cool. The good thing about that happening would have been that they could have even led off with a Roman and Jay at WrestleMania to settle their score and stuff.
Wait for it, man. I'm still not done with elimination, Jay. Were you ready?
Oh, here we go.
Sorry, here we go.
No. Let's.
Sami on the turnbuckle, 2 titles. Jay in the ring looking up at Sami, horrified. Sami looks back at Jay and goes like this. Jay spun around, stunner by Kevin Owens. Jay out of the ring. Sami to this Kevin, and they embrace. In Montreal, huge pop. Monday night on Raw. None of you people believed in me. You didn't really think I was gonna do it because I know this whole time there's been a conspiracy against me. I thought it was in the company. It was all of you. Oh, we love you, Sami. You're so good, Sami. Where were you when Kevin Owens broke my back and stole my title? Where have you been for years? I was right. You laughed at me during Jackass. Well, who's laughing now? I am not having a match with Cody Rhodes for the main event of WrestleMania. It's not happening. I was injured in the match last night after the cruel attack by Jey Uso. Jay's music hits. Mini feud between Sami and Jay leading into Mania. Sami says he's not going to fight Cody. Roman going insane in the bloodline and alienating everyone because he doesn't have the titles anymore, to the degree that he starts crying in a main event on SmackDown and like loses to Rick Boogs. like going into Mania. It's like tragic. And Roman's like crying, like his life's falling apart. Paul Heyman leaves him. Roman is going to be on night. Sami gets Cody on night 1. Cody beats Sami on night 1, except for Roman manages to finagle his way, insane Roman, for the main event on night 2. Cody beats Roman on night 2. It's a triple threat spread out across 2 nights. Cowardly heel, monster heel. If you turned Sami, if he won and then you turned him heel right there, you saved it.
Yeah.
You saved it.
It'd be crazy.
See, my favorite thing that you mentioned about that, I love it because it's full circle back to conspiracy.
Yeah, he's just
fucking love that.
He's just
I love
insane.
It, you know,
the automatic heel turn would be something that's needed, something that is unexpected.
How many times can you be like, "Oh, poor Sami"? We all knew he was going to lose.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine the character. Fuck all you people. Oh, you're cheering me out of pity.
It would have been cool. Yeah, to his own crowd, like it would have been. It would have been cool. It would have been cool.
I never needed this place.
So I have to ask. This kind of goes into one of my questions. I'm sorry, I'm on a wrestling tangent.
No, let's
too.
go. Let's go.
I fucking go.
I'm having fun.
Who taught you how to pitch? Like, is this like all throughout my film school stuff? Everybody always kind of hit me with the elevator pitch. You got to do the elevator pitch.
No.
You've got this window. You know, it's like you can't escape that. Who taught you?
I figured it out. I had to figure it out.
You just figured it out.
My parents, especially my dad, is an incredible storyteller to the degree that he has almost the way he talks almost has a musicality to it, where it's very easy to listen to, and he talks constantly. And both my parents talk constantly, and the way to talk to them is in sort of that language and this sort of language of storytelling. So my parents are like film nuts. So and they're both super. They're not just in the industry, and they're not just legends of the industry, but they are. I love them. Sorry, but
they're fucking awesome. Your mom and dad both. Yeah, awesome.
I'm a fan. But they're also like, they really love movies. Like they're real nerds. Like they would get along with most people I know because they just love movies. This comes from a deep place. And my dad loves horror. And so I was constantly being told movies by my dad when I was a kid. He would say like, "Oh, you haven't seen this? It's this, 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 and this. And eventually I got so fascinated with sort of the idea of being able to tell a story and being able to convey images with words and convey emotions with words that I never practiced. I never like got good at it. But over time, it became the way that I talk. One of the weird things about just me as a human being is that I talk in this sort of ebullient forward way that fits for pitching. Yeah. So it kind of always sounds like I'm pitching. I don't know. No one really taught me. It's just something I love because I have ideas all the time. And if you're not being interesting with them, then you shouldn't. You've ever sat through a boring pitch?
Oh, fuck yeah.
It's like torture.
It's horrible. It's horrible.
It's a horrible emotional experience because it's like, I'm not connecting with your story, dude. It's not just not all the way there. And like, you have to be good at pitching just to save the people who are listening to you. Because otherwise they're going to be like, help me. So
did you ever have a moment like where maybe it's like, okay, you've got this window, right? Like that 30, well, it's not 30-minute window, but that's, a long form if you're going to get lucky enough to get 30 minutes. But, like I was saying, the elevator pitch, like, did they ever,
of course.
A moment
you
have to do it.
I did that many times in my career. Many times, way more times than I got things made.
Is it harder for you to do that? Because you're a very well articulated person. And to me, it's like, I feel like if I had as much like that massive amount of a story to tell, like, are the execs looking at you like, get the fuck out of here? Like, oh, I don't know. How does that work?
Oh, it's not. Oh, dude. See, that's okay. I can actually like give you advice that actually is helpful. Okay. Which is rare that you can. Okay. So this is cool. So pitching is never about the amount of story you have to tell. It's never about what you're trying to tell. It's never about anything, because it's an experience with another human being in a room or on a phone or on a Zoom. It has to be tailored to that human being. The listener is a participant in the telling of a story. And the further you get away from the listener, the less you're paying attention to how much they're paying attention to you, what they're interested in, the harder it becomes to even get and convey what you need to convey. For me, always pitching is not a pitch in the sense that I'll go, here's act one and this happens. I've been asked to talk about an idea with a person and try to get them to understand why it's good and why they should make it and why they should like it. And it's one of my ideas and I love it. So it's not like I'm going in to sell a shoe. What I'm talking about has no objective value. I have to prove through a conversation that my idea for a made up thing, you see what I'm saying? It's never about hitting the beats of a story, because that's not what the pitch is. You get into that when you have to explain your idea, but I always approach it rather than as a sort of regimented, structured thing. I always approach it as, who's this person I'm talking to? Okay, they're at this company. What might they actually be looking for in a movie? Mm-hmm. How is my movie like that? How is my idea like the thing they want? Sincerely, because otherwise you end up in a situation where you can't deliver on what they want, or you kind of mishmash it. You don't get across what you think is good about your idea. So you have to just read them, talk to them, and you're never under any pressure at the end of the day to get the whole story out, because you're never rushing it. If they're listening, they'll just listen. If your meeting ends and you're not done explaining the story and the executive is like, hey, I have to go, but I want to hear the rest of this, you sold that pitch. You sold that pitch. So, but then at the same time, if you're there and someone's checking their watch, you got to see that they're checking their watch. You got to see that. You see what I'm saying? That's my advice on it, is to always approach it as a conversation about your idea. The whole term pitch is like kind of iffy. You know what I mean? It makes it sound like you're selling a car. It makes it sound like you're throwing a ball. There's no ball. There's
See, that's what always scares me about that. I mean, I wouldn't say it scares me. It's just like I love the way you pitch things. Like that's one of the things that, like, you know, that's how I discovered you through like one of my other buddies who's a screenwriter as well. And I'm like, holy shit. It's like you made it look so fucking awesome to be a screenwriter. And that's what got me into wanting to be a screenwriter. And it's so fucking cool. And the pitching is something that I wouldn't say that I've always had problems with, but it's something that I've always found hard, like a hard time compressing things. It's like to get that point across to people who may or may not be interested in my ideas. So that is awesome. Like it's good to take a peek into side of that.
You look into the best pitches. The best. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're fine. I was done.
Look into like some of the best hook pitches, and some of them are really easy. Like it's very easy to find the hooky thing about the idea, even if they're really out there ideas. Like if I told you, okay, so this guy is so miserable and can't sleep that he starts going to cancer support groups. And he doesn't have cancer, but he's going to cancer and suicide support groups every night instead of sleeping. And his life at his office job is falling apart. He gets infatuated with a woman who does the same thing as him and goes to these groups for fun. So he's going down this dark road with her. And then he meets a guy on a plane who's like everything he's not, the coolest, hottest, most interesting guy in the world. And this guy lives this rugged lifestyle in this house in the edge of town. And they get involved in this thing. And one night, you know, they're in this weird friendship. And one night outside of a bar, the cool guy tries to get him to hit him. And they start beating each other up. And that becomes part of their friendship. They beat each other up every night until other guys start joining them, beating each other up. And then it becomes a cult terrorist movement. The one guy realizes, oh my fucking God, I am now at the heart of a criminal organization, except for all roads lead to him. It appears that he's the leader. When he knows that it's the cool hot guy who started all this, surprise, he wasn't sleeping for too long. The cool hot guy and him are the same guy, but he realizes this way too late to cause a society disrupting terrorist attack. That's Fight Club, and it's easy to see why it's a good idea. Every single thing I just said is awesome. Cool. What?
Yeah, everything about it, like every little minute detail,
every tiny thing, and I left out so much. Like I didn't,
but the core.
It doesn't feel like you did though. You hit the good parts.
Yeah. God, well, because you're hitting these hooks, and it's like that's an interesting idea. That's an interesting idea. That's why the Matrix. The Matrix, I think, was written as a script, but that's one of the best pitches of all time because it goes hook, 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 hook. It does hooks all the way till it's playing the chorus till the end of the movie. And then the final shot is another iconic thing.
That is very true.
Do you see what I'm saying? Every single scene is so pitching the Matrix is like, and then this happened. You're like jumping around, you know? And like, it's always about finding those hooks and the things that are hooky, the things that are cool and capture someone's imagination.
So let me ask you this too. Sorry, I'm just trying to.
I don't
know what your time is, but
I'm having lots of fun. I got it.
Okay, awesome.
I like talking about this shit. You can't tell.
So recently, it's been about 8 months since you uploaded the video for your Ghostbusters 3.
Oh yeah.
Treatment, I guess, if you will. Did you ever have a moment where, like, in your head, maybe you're like, "Fuck, maybe I should pitch this to Jason or Ivan"?
Did you not hear the story?
No, like, I mean, I watched the video, but like maybe there's something in there that I missed. Like, was there ever a moment where it's like, because I noticed you referred to it as fan fiction.
No,
right?
I pitched it, and I almost.
Oh, so you fucking really pitched it?
They said I almost got it, but then there was the
thing with the
email. That's what the first half of that video is about. It was the process of me trying to pitch it. And
see, I thought it was referred to as just fan fiction. I
no,
didn't know
it was not
actually pitched it.
No, it was a pitch I did, and people really liked it.
Cool.
But I never got to pitch. I never got to like meet Jason or Ivan or any of them. I was talking to Mike DeLuca at that point, who's this brilliant executive who's behind so many movies you love. across. He's been all around Hollywood for like 25 years, and he's like, there's these executives. What's so weird about them is they play, as you've seen in films recently, a huge amount creatively without really having credits on the movie. So there are executives who are the film executive equivalent of Steven Spielberg, or do you see what I'm saying? But never hear their names unless you really know about the business of Hollywood. But there are so many guys who I can think of off the top of my head, guys and girls, men and women, who are behind movies because they were sort of like, well, what if it was more like this? And then that's the cool thing about the movie. Yeah. Like, what if we went a little further instead of the classic executive note of, what if we didn't go as far? What if we cut it back? They don't always do that. Sometimes they pitch things to you in the room that are dumb or terrible, but then occasionally you're like, oh, this is how you got this job.
Yeah.
I'm now.
So it's like a writer's room.
Yeah. It's like it becomes, because it's studio filmmaking, I don't know if it's right or wrong, the executive system, but there's such a stewardship of so much money, that an investment in art, it is at the end of the day, befuddlingly an arts industry. And they're investing in these massive art projects. And there has to be someone there to be like, hey, maybe don't go $100 million over budget.
Like, do we really need that explosion? It's
did that movie really need to exist? Couldn't that money have been used to feed the hungry?
It's very fascinating. And like the thing about like your version of Ghostbusters 3, like, I'm not knocking the one that we got. It wasn't bad. Like, I mean, I didn't hate it. I wasn't a big fan of the all female reboot, not because they're female, just because it wasn't my cup of tea.
I don't think it was many people's cup of tea.
It just didn't click.
That's not at this point. I don't even think you're at the point where you need to say not because they're female.
It's just
now. No, I skipped out on the tea completely. I didn't even take a sip. I didn't.
Like, fuck this.
It's a strange movie. It's legitimately. I think both of them are strange. I don't know.
They are.
But I also think Ghostbusters 2 is a strange movie.
It is very weird. But it's weird. It's my favorite one.
Really?
It's my favorite one. I don't know why. Like, I think because I remember renting this movie as a kid. Just always wanting Ghostbusters too. Maybe it was the.
It's got to be the renting because personally, I could have been done with. I mean, one was great, fantastic, and it could have been left as that.
My parents hated it. Like, they were like, "Why do you want to rent this fucking second movie all the time?"
All I wanted to do,
second fucking movie.
What I wanted to do with Ghostbusters was sort of, what I wanted to do was deliver on the Ghostbusters movie. Everyone kind of already thinks exists, because Ghostbusters isn't Ghostbusters. Like, people talk about Ghostbusters, but when they think about Ghostbusters, what they're really thinking about is sort of a cultural melange of like 10 different things, including the real Ghostbusters cartoon show, where like. People forget that you only see them bust one fucking ghost in Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
So I wanted to write like this big ghost busting apocalypse sci-fi movie with all different cool tech and really funny and really sarcastic. And I wanted to bump it down, PG-13 and just offer something sort of bigger and more heartfelt than a reboot or a revamp. I always think sequels are braver and more ambitious, and I think they're more interesting movies that choose to sequel instead of reboot. And that's why I loved the J.J. Abrams Star Trek, is because
it was good.
Well, midway through it went like this: I'm actually a sequel, and it was oh, cool. Oh, thank you, dude. It was like it. That moment felt really like good. And you know what else? Felt great recently was the Chip and Dale movie.
You know what?
I still haven't seen it.
See it yet.
I've been waiting.
Did you see it?
I love it. You need to see it. It's really funny. Have you seen Pop Star Never Stop, Never Stopping?
I have seen that.
I have not.
I have seen that. It's a very unique movie. I'll tell you that.
So that's right, Chip and Dale. They did a Chip and Dale movie. It feels like that. It's nuts.
Okay, so I'm sold.
So,
it's with
sorry, Jericho.
No. Oh no, go ahead.
The conversation. No, what were you going to say?
No. basically, I was just saying, like, I think one of the things, like, I kind of going back to the Ghostbusters 2 thing. I know I'm fucking addicted to it.
No, it's okay. Get into it.
One of the things that in your pitch was, the sequence again, with uplifting everybody, like in Ghostbusters 2. It's the one callback to that weird, bizarre movie, and I don't know, it warmed me. I was like, yes, somebody
Ella
cares.
Henderson with Ghost when everybody's in New York City.
I love it.
The images, man, the images I forgot. Sorry, what were you gonna say?
Oh no, that's pretty much it. I was just saying, I'm glad that you didn't shy away from the second movie.
No, I love it's an important part of the mythology in my movie. It's like an important, because it happened. You're not going to put it on the shelf. And I made everything canon. It's implied Extreme Ghostbusters may have happened at some point in the past, but because there have been all these different Ghostbusters teams but there's one thing, it bummed me out, because that scene where Veronica Spangler goes to the street and everybody's partying, the scene right before that, I didn't pitch it because the pitch was going too long, but there's this really cool scene where she's alone in New York during Ghost Apocalypse, because all the other Ghostbusters have just reunited and are there, but she went out alone to try to shut down the building by her lonesome, like a strong female character. And there's this scene where ghosts are flying everywhere in New York, and you kind of get a Ghostbuster, almost like Saving Private Ryan, where you're running through. Except for it's funny shit happening. So it's
it's just fucking ectoplasm.
And like it's Saving Private Ryan, it's that scale, but it's all comedy, gag. But finally, she ends up in an antique store, and all of the ghosts who are attached to the antiques are coming to life. And so there was this sequence. I got to pitch it in the room. I didn't pitch it in my video, but it's like The Revenant with ghosts but funny, where she's fighting in an antique store with a blaster, just blowing things up, and keeps getting slimed. And by the end of it, she's covered in all different color ectoplasm. And that's when she's like beaten down and covered in dust and ectoplasm. And she hears the music playing. And she walks up onto the street, and she's like, what the hell is going on? And then they go, whoop, and they pick her up. And she's like, yeah, we did it. So it's this huge uplift. We're all back together. That's fucking
awesome.
Saving the day, all that shit.
For some reason, I thought when you were talking about the antiquity shop, my mind, and I don't know why, it instantly went to, oh shit, there's going to be Vigo the Carpathian's going to be in here or some shit. Like, I don't know why. That's just why.
I don't know.
Maybe he is.
I can see that. I didn't include Vigo in it. Vigo the Carpathian, when I was a kid, when Dan Aykroyd turned around and his face was all scary.
Oh, fucking scared the shit out of me. Fuck that. Well, that and the library ghost kind of freaked me out too.
She's sillier now, but Dan Aykroyd is still...
The library ghost was kind of, but for me, it was whenever she was levitating off the bed and Bill Murray's in there and he's observing her and stuff. It gave me Exorcist vibes, and I was not wanting to see it.
It's probably your Exorcist.
Oh, I was loving her levitating off the bed. I was as a little boy, I was like,
it's like this.
Yeah,
Sigourney Weaver.
Fascinating.
I was discovering
Sigourney Weaver.
Michelle Pfeiffer Catwoman. They dominated my childhood.
Yeah. No, I guess I guess you're right, Chad. I guess it just gave me a call back to The Exorcist being a terrifying.
Well, that's the only thing, Well, The Exorcist scared the shit out of me. I watched that movie far too young, and I don't know why. I remember every time I would fall asleep during AMC Fear Fest, I would wake up right on the fucking TV. It's at the worst fucking parts imaginable. Either the head spinning or something bad is going on, and I'm just waking up to that, half delusional, going, "Oh my god, like turn this shit off!" But at the same time, I can't look away. So The Exorcist.
I didn't get into horror. I got into horror late. I got into horror like 16, 17, because I was so easy to scare when I was a little kid. I was very easy. I was a very frightful little boy. And my dad's office was on the Universal lot.
Oh. And
I would go to visit my dad's office, and they had this big poster for Child's Play 2. And it was the poster was just Chucky's face like this, and then Chucky with under it was Chucky. There's a Jack in the
Box.
and he has a scissors, and it says, "Sorry, Jack, Chucky's back. And
That's
Chucky's like,
cool.
That would have
and
fucked me
I was
up.
terrified of that poster. I was terrified of it. And I never saw Child's Play. If I'd seen Child's Play, I wouldn't have been as scared.
Mm-hmm.
Because he's Charles Lee Ray. He's a guy who doesn't exist.
Yeah.
It's weird how that works. Like dolls are just fucking terrifying.
They're so scary.
I mean, they're just terrifying.
Because the Chucky
my mom
doll,
always had dolls.
the Chucky doll is scarier than the character Chucky. The
Right.
character
Yeah.
design is more upsetting, especially Chucky 2. The Chucky 2 one,
it's the eyebrows, right? Like I don't know. it's something to do with the eyebrows. I'm just like, oh man, it's it's like I always thought, since I for some reason, I mean, maybe they don't let him do this, but I always imagined that your dad would have probably kept some of the props from like American Werewolf or something, and just like had them in the house or some shit.
I mean, that's ages ago. My dad doesn't care about stuff like that.
He's just like, nah, I'm good.
Yeah, he collects other weird things, little miniature soldiers, pictures of gorillas. Like
pictures of gorillas.
He's
different.
He's his own weird guy. It's an encyclopedia of film. We were shooting this insane thing. We were shooting this insane thing in the pool at my parents' house. This is how I've been killing my time lately. We were shooting this insane thing in the pool, and my dad came out to see what we were shooting. And before we could start shooting, we went inside, and he started talking about Darby O'Gill and the Little People. Have you ever seen that movie?
I don't think so. No, I don't think I have.
So I don't know what the fuck made him start talking about it. This is just a random John Landis story. This is from 2 weeks ago. So he just started talking about Darby O'Gill and the Little People, and he was like, it's really visually stunning. And they use this specific type of, and my dad always starts stories about movies the same way. He goes, have you ever seen, and then he says the most ridiculous movie title, you think he made it up? And then when you go, no, he goes, you haven't seen blah, blah, blah. Like, he's so shocked. And it's like the movie from 1963 that was only released in 2 theaters and no one ever talked about again. You didn't see it? But then it's always some insane thing. So I've now have this trained ear for it, where he goes, you haven't seen Darby O'Gill and the Little People? And he sits down, my friends who are helping me shoot this thing. We have Crocodile Man in a swimming pool with fog machine flashlights. It's totally ridiculous. And as we get pulled in, and he puts on Darby O'Gill and the Little People and starts talking about how they did the special effects, which is they built the sets really big and really small, giant.
Oh, they Lord of the Rings did.
Yes,
right.
They invented that Lord of the Rings used the Darby O'Gill and the Little People technique to make the
forced perspective.
The forced perspective.
Yeah,
they do it at this. My dad then proceeds to put it on Amazon. Fast forward through most of it. Oh, he was talking about Sean Connery. He was like Sean Connery's. I forget how he was talking about that, but he was like, the Sean Connery's in this movie. And he proceeds to show us it. And if you're watching this, and to you guys, Darby O'Gill and the Little People is really fucking cool. It looks.
I know what I'm going to do today. That's what I'm going to do.
It looks really fucking crazy. That's my John Landis story of the no props, just stories. His brain.
No props, just stories. Yeah.
His brain is like Wikipedia of movies.
It's fucking hilarious though. There's a few people that I've met like that where it's just like, oh, you haven't seen. I have a buddy who watches every fucking thing. Foreign porno flicks, and I'm just like, how the fuck do you keep track of all this stuff? And he's like, I just write it down in a note. He writes everything down in a fucking notebook. I don't know.
Different type of person, man.
Yeah, he's on another level, but I respect it. It's like, I'm glad you have time for that.
My friend Ari the Rugged Man is this rapper. He's a fucking awesome guy. He's like one of my favorite people on earth, but he does this thing. Oh, hold on. This is my Postmates. Sorry. Oh my God. And it's such a good sandwich.
There's probably just fucking wandering around the house.
They are. And they're calling me. And they're like, what's going on? But I don't want to, it'll cancel it and he can eat the sandwich. Okay. I'm back. What do you guys want?
No, you're good. You're good.
Can I put little excerpts of this? Does this go on YouTube?
We typically just do it through Spotify, but yeah, we'll probably eventually upload to YouTube. Yeah.
Could I put little excerpts from this on my YouTube?
Yeah, fuck yeah. Why not?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay,
I don't mind at all.
Yeah, Chad, he's the one that usually cuts the clips, and then I'll do like the socials and stuff. So
So he's the social guy. I'm just here for the ride. I'm the tech guy, I guess. Where was I? Oh yeah. So this is a weird one because for the life of me, and I don't know why, I can't fucking find this pitch anymore that existed out there. At one point in time, this is like a long time ago, you made a pitch for an Alien prequel. And I don't even know if you remember this.
with the cavemen.
Yeah. So, and I know Prey kind of
They really
took
did.
that.
Yeah, they really did.
What is your thoughts on that? Did you ever feel like? Did you ever pitch that to someone? And it was like,
I mean, I'll go you a step further. I pitched Alien with Native Americans. I don't think they're connected. I feel like I don't
sometimes
think they're not connected. I just think it's an obviously good idea. And I think I think sometimes when you have an obviously good idea and then you're so excited about it and you see it that someone's done it or eventually does it, it doesn't necessarily mean they ripped you off. It means it means you were right. It is a good idea. Yeah. And you just didn't get the opportunity.
It's almost flattering, where it's like
it's not even flattering, but validating, right? Like
validating, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, validating. I feel so validated. One of the weirdest journeys of my life was going to see The Force Awakens and feeling really weird and bad after it. And everybody being on this wave of the new Star Wars movies are the best thing in the world. And then watching culturally the shift has been like such a psychological burden off of me because it felt like I'd gone insane. And sometimes you arrive first to something because everything I said about The Force Awakens now is what people eventually said about all the Star Wars movies. It was just, I was just the first person to be like, that's kind of weird. What the hell is this?
Yeah.
Like, this isn't right.
It's like,
off.
It wants to be Star Wars, but
it wants to be Star Wars. Yeah, it's like Star Wars, except I had all sorts of weird takes on that movie.
No, yeah.
But I mean, I've had a lot of things that I pitched and then later a version of them got done. Or I've also been involved in stuff you don't know I'm involved in. That I can't talk about and for various reasons.
Right.
And and it's been a really interesting, great ride. So when something like that happens, when something like Prey happens, Prey is different enough, Yeah, it's shit. And I'm doing a thing now. One of the projects I'm working on right now, just kicking around, seeing what I can do with it, is called At First Dark. And I'm kicking it around with another artist, and it's really cool. It's humanity's first ever encounter with vampires.
Oh,
and it shot like a Planet Earth kind of doc about pre-verbal cavemen, and a small tribe of pre-verbal cavemen, and it's like a documentary of the first time humanity dealt with the vampirism virus or gene. Or
dude, sign me the fuck up. I love that.
That's super. Yeah. I'm already on board.
And tonally, it's really like good-hearted too. It's like it's very human. It's about what it means, what separates us from animals, and what separates us from sort of our darker nature. We're really using the vampire stuff cool. And what's really cool is there's no dialogue. They kind of like that. And we got Neanderthals in it, and we got it's really cool. And so like that's sort of where that alien idea kind of ended up. For ages, that's the caveman thing separate, but for ages I wanted to do a trilogy called At First Dark, which would be, it's pretty fucking cool. It's humanity's encounters with vampires, but 1 million years apart from each other. So the first one is cavemen. The second one is in the Old West, in the American Southwest. And then the third one is on a Venus orbiting satellite colony where a number of people from Earth are being woken up out of hypersleep after being in hypersleep after their ship got broken by something and has been orbiting Venus aimlessly for 500,000 years. And it's, that one's really cool. And all of them would be vampire shit, but just in scenarios you've never seen it before.
That's fucking awesome. Like,
thought
I've
it was
never
Yeah,
heard of that
intelligent.
concept before.
I'm already
That's
in,
really
and
dope.
it's not even been made, and I'm already in. When
Yeah.
when we
And they
He's like, I
share,
need it
who
now.
knows it'll ever get made. And they all share moments, and they would have visual moments that echo each other, even though they don't share characters or anything.
Yeah,
And certain mistakes people make in early ones, they don't make. People don't make in later ones, and certain smart things people do in early ones when they're more primal, people don't do in later ones. So you see
like
how
little callbacks, just like, oh, that's so fucking dope.
yeah, because the only one that has like a happy ending is the Western. The other two are, but the Western is sort of where everyone in a row kind of makes the most right decisions and smart. Yeah. There's a scene, a vampire gets tied, a person, they can't kill him because they need him. He's an important character, but he's been turned into a vampire. So they tie him to a cactus. And so he's like in a cactus in the middle of the desert, and then they wrap Indian Navajo blankets around him.
Oh,
so he's on a cactus. He's on a cactus like this, and he's like all this things, and he looks like this cloaked thing, crucified, hanging in the desert, and that's the poster, and the sun beating down onto him. But they lay all the blankets on him, so if he moves, the blankets will fall off and he'll burn alive. So
that's fucking awesome, dude.
He just has to stand like that. There's a bunch of cool shit in that one.
I love a good set piece. Like that's like a nice little set piece.
It's so good when you get a good set piece. When you get a good, like, it all builds to that one image, and it's like, get away from her, you bitch. It's like, oh, I remember when I saw that thing from before.
Yeah. It's
so good.
So once again, I know like you can't. I don't know what you can and cannot talk about this. Sure. This is a big one because I know Beard. He fucking loves American Werewolf. It's his favorite werewolf movie of all time. I fucking love that.
I can talk about that. I can talk about American Werewolf as much as you want me to.
Okay, I didn't want to step on any toes and be like, hey, But anyway, so what was your version going to be like? Because I know there were rumors that it was supposed to be part of the whole Dark Universe.
Right. It wasn't. I wrote a picture from the Black Lagoon for the Dark Universe.
Oh, okay.
But it never got made. It was really cool. Sure. It was about a Disney World style water park that gets flooded during a hurricane, and the creature gets swept in during that.
That's awesome.
And you're in a Hurricane Katrina, mid-Hurricane Katrina scale hurricane in Disney World, but it would be a fake theme park we invented called Starland. And it was, you're with the disaster relief workers trying to find a lost kid, and the creature is there, and it's pretty fucking cool. It was a pretty cool script, yeah.
It's like Alien in Disneyland. That's fucking badass, dude.
It was Alien in Disneyland.
Yeah.
And well, he's sort of not alien. He's sort of his own weird.
Yeah.
The creature's so inscrutable. Like, he's just, what's his deal? He's weird. But so that was really fun. My American Werewolf was essentially a more fleshed out American Werewolf in London. I'm very proud of the script. I'm not allowed to release it,
of course.
they say. Yeah. But it's frustrating because I'm really proud of it. I think it's one of my better scripts. I was basically, it was American Werewolf. A lot of it followed the exact structure of the first film. But I fleshed it out in a bunch of ways that were really, I think, cool and fun and interesting. And it was I think it's very funny. I really am. An example is, it's slowly built. There's a bunch of different things I did with thematic stuff, but like an example of concrete, like plot stuff I changed was, there's this guy, Donald, who lives in the little shitty town they go to where the slaughtered lamb is. And he's this, like, he's their age, but he's this horrible, stupid prick North English guy who would be like Donald Gleason or someone. And red haired, just like skinny, mean British guy who hates them. And they see him fighting with the locals in the slaughtered lamb. And one of them is his dad. And when they go off the road, it always kind of fucked with me in American Werewolf that you just cut to them and they're off the road. It always felt very movie. It always was like, oh, what is this? Bob Hope and Bing Crosby? This is a road movie. We're just cutting. And now they accidentally Whoops. The 1950s. We're in a different scene.
Did you ever look at your dad and was like, what's up with that?
No, of course. I know. I talked to him about it a lot. I told him he loves it. That's the worst thing about not being able to release it is my dad loves my American Werewolf, and it's so rare I get like a really good review from him. And it kills me. But so now the reason they go off the road is Donald, after fighting with his family, is drunk on his Vespa, and he almost hits them, and then he goes off the road. And David, throughout the first part, David has seemed like the nice guy. And Jack is the guy being like, let's just have fun. And David goes, is there no British asshole unworthy of your charity, David? We're going off the road into the dark, into the murder woods. That's, you fucking asshole. Are you kidding? And David's like, well, no, maybe he got hurt. And you can hear Donald going, I'm fine. Fuck you. Don't come down here. Don't come down here. Fuck you. And Jack is going, he's telling us not to go down there, David. He was rude to us in the bar. He's a rude man we don't know. Let him die. And
let him die.
And it's a funny script. And so they go down there and they get separated immediately and they end up in the mists. And all the same shit happens. Jack gets killed. David gets mauled. It happens in a way cooler way because instead of being attacked, I needed to keep changing things so I wasn't doing beat for beat. So like you think it's going to be the werewolf when they're hearing something going around, but really it's a truck with a guy from the bar who was like, I came to get you, like, don't worry about it. So the tension of the scene totally deflates and it totally is like, oh, thank God. And then the truck gets hit from the side by the werewolf and turned on its side and it has, rig lights on it. And in the fog, so it's like this crazy, I want to direct it's this crazy image of the rig lights spraying up through the fog on the side of the truck, and then the werewolf comes in front of it, so it's like a silhouette of a wolf against the light. And the guys are like, awesome. Whoa! And they get, all the same shit happens.
Right there's your poster. Right there's the...
Dude.
I tried to do so many, like, and this is the poster. And this is the poster.
Yeah.
And so Donald, the big change of the plot is that Donald gets sent to kill David in London.
Oh, that's
so there's this like Danny Boyle lock, stock, and two smoking barrels element to it as this like fumbling millennial North English guy tries to murder this dude. And then do you want to know sort of the bigger twist of the movie?
Yeah, no, fire away. Because, I mean, this is the only way we're ever going to really know, right?
This is the only way. So basically, I really fleshed out the nurse, Alexis, Jenny Agutter character.
Mm-hmm.
I made her someone who's like miserable in their lives and who has lost all sense of hope and magic for the world because she's been working on the terminal ward for kids. And that's why she like takes a random American home from the hospital and fucks him. And like, I made it make way more sense. She's like, in a way, she's like kind of a way messier point in her life.
I was going to say, she just seemed really friendly. It made me want to go to England.
Like, and I was like, that's the place to be.
We got to go backpacking, Chad. We got to go backpacking.
Man, we got to go.
There's a whole part where she's alone. One of the introductions to the character, because after David gets attacked, it's like the Alexis movie for 6 minutes. Just getting to know her as like a random girl in London who's like, you see her, your first introduction to her is in the back of a cab, incoherently drunk, doing the to the window, to the wall, like that. And her friend is in the cab, like trying to, and great. She's lost all hope in the world because she works on terminal kid ward. And there was one kid who started to get better. And when he started to get better, there were all these balloons and cakes and candy for him, and people were visiting him every day. But then the cancer came back and it got worse. Damn. And less people were there. And now he's dead, and she just had to clean up all the balloons out of the room.
Oh, that's fucked.
And so she's like, there is no other world. There is no other life. There's no magic left in the world. She stopped talking to her family. But then when Jack shows back up as the ghost, I do way more with it. It's like a full-on buddy movie. And they do the bit I was telling you about, because he has this whole romance with Alexis and trying to pretend Jack isn't there. But then Jack's like, you have to kill yourself, man. You're going to turn to the werewolf, all this stuff, And I let you have your little before sunrise moment with this fucking girl. I let you do it, dude. So just kill yourself now. And David goes, the fuck is before sunrise? What are you talking about? And Jack goes, you have to kill yourself, man. He goes, no, what are you talking about? He goes, you haven't seen Before Sunrise, seriously, Ethan Hawke, Julie Delpy? And he goes, no. And he goes, David, how have you seen no movies? You've never seen anything. And David's like, I just don't like movies that much. He goes, you have to see Before Sunrise. You just did it with this nurse. And then you just hard cut to them sitting and Before Sunrise.
Fuck yes. I'm so glad. I was hoping, I'm like, please God, tell me it's just them fucking just decrepit sitting on the couch watching this movie.
And then they get into this, it goes into this whole sequence where he's like, the gas has been totally taken out of Jack. So he's like, what are we doing? Well, I'm not going to turn to the wolf till tomorrow. So like, we never got to go to London. And then it's Penny Lane. There is a bar selling photographs, and it's them all over London. It's like a montage of him and the dead guy. And you keep getting to David talking to no one, but Jack's really there, so he can touch things and move. He's a ghost. He's like a real ghost. He's not a hallucination. So you see like the guards, and David goes like with his iPhone, and Jack knocks the guy's hat off, and David's like it's. I love it.
That is awesome. Like I always wondered how that would happen. Like how would they
big dark twist?
Yeah. Let's fucking hear it.
So I always thought it was really crazy that American Werewolf, David doesn't kill himself because the situation gets so dark and it's so clear that what he's done, that he's putting other people in risk. And I wanted to suicide. I'm sorry, I'm talking about this a lot. I really love talking about this.
This is
okay.
I love this shit. I've always wanted to know.
Oh, sick. Okay, then you'll think this is cool, I hope. So David, like super in the first movie, comes across as selfish, but just because the stakes seem unfairly high. And like it feels suddenly like a serious, like the grimness of it is almost overwhelming. And I was like, well, why what could be interesting interpersonally in a dynamic of one friend telling another friend, kill yourself? Like, what could I do with that? So what's revealed throughout the movie, through their friendship, because they're kind of in denial about it, is that David cheated on his girlfriend and they were all in one friend group. And it came out and the whole friend group hates David now. And Jack is the only one who's still his friend. And you took me to England and I went on your little feel sorry for me trip and your little soul searching thing. And you're so full of shit, Dave. You gave me the worst place on earth and I fucking die. Go! I hate you, man. I hate you so much. When you kill yourself, I'm going to love it, man. Oh God, don't say that, man. That's so fucked up of you to say. I wouldn't really love it if you killed yourself, but you do have to because you are a werewolf. And that's just what it's like. So the dynamic is totally different. And there's this whole moment where David calls his ex-girlfriend when he's about to jump off a bridge. And she's like, I want you to know that, like, I'm so sorry and all this stuff. And she's like, David, why are you calling? Didn't Jack die? Shouldn't you be like talking about your best friend who died? And David goes, oh, it's been so fucked up because he's still here. It doesn't feel like he's dead at all. Oh my God. And his ex-girlfriend's on the phone like, he's like, she already hates this guy. And then he just buries himself so far. He's like, yeah, and I hooked up with this random nurse and I turned to where I killed 3 people, I think. And she's like, what the fuck? And she goes, please don't call me again. And so he does ultimately try to kill himself. He jumps off the roof of the movie theater after being chased. It's so dope. I do all this mass shooting stuff subtly. Like I said that in a little too excited of a voice, but there's this whole part where Donald is in Piccadilly Circus in a movie theater with a double barrel shotgun, and Donald's dad ends up getting killed in this way that's like very frustrating. And it's all this stuff of the London lockdowns and stuff with all the CCTV. I did a bunch of cool, I think, visual stuff with CCTV cameras and all that, and kind of Banksy type, the sort of their cameras everywhere in London. So when the first time you see the werewolves rampage, you see it all found footage.
That's fucking awesome. That's really cool.
Because I want to hide the wolf for as long as possible for budget reasons, and also to build it like the first one.
Oh, you have to build it, which is why the first one delivered to me so well.
It cuts loose at the end. That's what I love about it. It goes, he crashes a bus. Like, no one.
It's like,
In
shit,
the
just
end
like
of
fucking
American
ruined.
Werewolf, it goes, yeah, this incident will change the world. This is international news.
Yeah.
This is international news. This is a world-changing incident. Werewolves are real. Yeah, so I really commit to that at the end too. But basically, David tries to kill himself. He jumps off the roof. And it's really funny because Jack's going, do it, David, do it. And then he does it. And Jack goes, oh my God. Oh my God. But he hits the ground and he doesn't die. All his bones are broken.
Oh shit.
And he's all fucked up. And the moon is coming up. And Jack starts going, what? What he tried? This is so fucked up. This is so fucked up. I didn't think you were going to do it, David. You're so brave, but this is so fucked up. It looks like it really hurts. And he turns from the puddle of human into the werewolf. Piccadilly Circus rampage. Crazy mayhem. He's shot by the police, but he also bites Donald, the son. He ends up mauling.
Oh no.
But right before he's killed, Alexis not only saw him transform, he lands right in front of her when he tries to kill him. It's really brutal. But not only saw him transform into the werewolf, but then had this up close encounter with it. Remember when she's in the alley and she's like, David?
Yeah.
I do that moment, except for I play it like Gorillas in the Mist, where she, instead of it being a horror movie moment, at the end of this crazy horror movie sequence, she's like, it's a werewolf. Magic's real.
Yeah.
So she gets this sense of something bigger, and you see it like register for her, and then it goes, ah! The police shoot it. And then the final two beats of the movie are Donald's in the ambulance, and he's all fucked up. And the two guys, they manage to they have a big emotional conversation where they get through their blocks. And David killing himself represents him admitting he was wrong to his friend by literally killing yourself. But so they're both in the ambulance, or Donald's in the ambulance, and he's like on all these stuff. He's a shitty guy on all this like IVs and shit. And he looks, and Jack, all like rotting, falling apart is sitting on the thing next to him. And then he looks, and David, naked with a bunch of bullet holes, is sitting, and he looks at him, and Jack goes, Donald, guess what? You say it. And David goes, Donald, you got to kill yourself.
Oh, dude, that's so fucking good.
You cut back the final credits, and then and bop it a bop, dang, dang, dang. But then you cut back to the hospital, and it's her friend, the nurse's friend, is coming into work, and all these people running around. It's what's going on? There was something crazy in Piccadilly Circus. There was a man with a gun, and some kind of animal got loose. Yeah, what? Holy shit. Yeah, we have about 155 people coming in. It's mostly bite marks.
God damn. We were robbed. We were robbed of this movie.
Werewolf
Dude, that's so
Apocalypse
fucking good.
sequel.
It's so fucking good. That is just...
It definitely adds a lot of substance to the original.
Yes. Like a lot.
Which is great, because there was a lot of things, like I said, like Chad said, one of my favorite movies. I've always said, don't touch Back to the Future, don't touch American Werewolf in London, and I'm good. And that actually, the way that you explained it and pitched it would add a lot of substance to a lot of scenes where you're kind of like, wait, why is this happening?
Yeah.
Because American Werewolf is so good it gets away with it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yes.
It's so good it gets away with it. But when you're revisiting it, you gotta, if you're making a remake, you gotta remake. You gotta take what's there and do the best you can to capture on the feelings that maybe felt like they were already there somewhere, but they didn't. I didn't want to add. There's a sense of being pursued in American Werewolf, so I gave it a character. Character. There's this, the biggest change I made and the most controversial thing in the entire script. And it is controversial, but it's controversial in the original movie. You remember when he dreams about the Nazi guys?
Oh, yeah.
So I changed that. This wasn't subtle. I changed that to be he dreams that he got home, and it's like Christmas in Chicago, and there's like he's in a shopping mall with all these people around, and then it starts to fill up with the mist from the moors. And he loses his family, and he's like, where's my family? What's going on? And then he sees his mom and his dad over by a toy store, and everything's normal again. and it sort of plays like, oh, maybe he did make it home and he's just hallucinating. But then like a IED, like a pipe bomb, goes off in the front of the toy store, blows apart two of the kids, and the kids are like spread apart. And then a guy with a M16, you know, an AR-15, starts going boom, 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 and the families while they're shopping, and it's a mass shooting. Except for the mass shooter, as he gets closer, his body keeps going like that until you finally get a good look at him, and you know it's that horrible werewolf face, and it's like, oh no! But I just wanted to do something. The movie is really intense and dark, while also being really funny and like. It's heartfelt and about a friendship and about a relationship, but I did want to put something in it that really made people sit up. And and I it's interesting because writing that script, I had to sell that pitch to my dad. Like,
that's oof.
It was people are like, you know, you talk about nepotism. You think John Landis wants there to be a bad version of fucking American Werewolf in London?
Yeah.
Like, you think he gives two shits I'm his kid if I gave him a bad pitch? Like, oh my God. Like, that's his legacy. So it was such an important thing. And then things happened the way they did and it didn't happen. And what's interesting is I got paid for it. So they own it. So one of the weirdest things is if there is a remake of American Werewolf in London eventually for some reason, they can just use whatever of my ideas they want.
Yeah.
And that's happened to me a couple of times. I've written only a handful, but I've written movies or ideas that that I was paid to write, and then the ideas show up or echoes of them show up in the movie that's eventually made. And it's always really interesting to experience that.
Yeah, another thing, you know, coming off of, I'm not trying to come off of American Werewolf right now, but American Ultra, right?
Oh yeah,
like, dude, I love that movie, but I feel like they marketed that so poorly,
it's so strange.
It's so fucking weird because I tell people to watch this movie all the goddamn time, and they're like, "Well, the trailer doesn't look that interesting," blah 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 blah, and I'm like, you have no fucking clue.
Very unique.
Like, you've got to watch this goddamn movie.
Yeah, it's a strange one. I don't know. I loved writing that movie.
But it's just the studios, I guess. I don't know if studios is the people that have the final say, the execs, whoever.
Well, it's the market.
It's weird.
The people don't talk enough about how the head of marketing in a studio is basically like one of the most powerful fucking jobs in the entire. It's up near the tippity top.
Yeah,
like right up there with head of production and everything. Like it's that level. Because if you can't sell the art, so like, excuse me, so those guys get massive budgets to promote things, and it really is on the people in charge of marketing to get the movie across. Because so many great movies have been defeated by their marketing. So many great movies weren't pitched correctly to the public or leaned on a lazy angle instead of trying something interesting. And so many movies have been made by their marketing and have succeeded. Barbarian, I really believe, succeeded off a poster.
Yes. Thank you. Thank God somebody else has said.
Yeah, and like and it becomes about how you angle an idea and what you can evoke. And yeah, American Ultra is very strange marketing, especially for such a dark sort of intense movie. It really kind of tried to market it in the more Seth Rogen-y vein.
Yeah.
And it's weird because sometimes when people talk about it, they talk about it as like, it's like Stoner's Jason Bourne. And it is that, but that's not what the tone of the movie is. Like, it's its own thing. It's more like Jason Bourne than Stoner's versus Jason Bourne. Yeah. It's a like weird drama about a small town couple that gets intersected by like a high octane violent action movie. And it's my one regret on that movie, really. I think Kristen Stewart, Jesse Eisenberg are incredible. But my one regret on that movie is that Nima, the director, did shoot a couple of the scenes in the first act that established them more as a couple that got cut out for time. And, I've seen like 20 cuts of that movie. And I find myself missing them in the final. Damn. I find myself wishing we got to spend a little more time because they have such sweet chemistry. They've played a couple 3 times. Like,
yeah.
wild to think about.
That is strange. Like, but it's an awesome movie. Like, I'm not sure how much of your script elements ended up in the final cut of that.
100%.
It's fucking good, dude.
American, Nemo only made it better. American Ultra, Mr. Right, Chronicle, Shadow in the Cloud. They're all basically I'm very lucky that they're all very close to my script. Victor Frankenstein gets further away. The movie I directed, Me, Him, Her, got pretty far away because I was just trying to make it work. And then Bright is the only one that's like markedly different than what I wrote. And then, of course, on Dirk Gently, on my show, I got to write everything. And
I want to talk about some Dirk fucking Gently, dude.
What? Not to interrupt.
Oh, go ahead.
But you mentioned Victor Frankenstein, and I was curious what part of Victor Frankenstein was yours that they actually used, because I enjoyed the point of view of the movie.
Yeah, the whole like first and a lot of the second act. Basically everything after the monkey gets a little different than my script, and then it gets more and more and more and more different until you get to this place where it's unrecognizable from my script. Right. And the whole ending is different. And, also tonally, Victor Frankenstein is very different than the script. The movie went for this sort of more irreverent Sherlock Holmesian sort of stylized look and tone, and the script kind of isn't like that. The script's funny, but it's meant to be sort of more Sand and Fog, Nolan-y, Shadow in London, not so much Willy Wonka looking, Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that, the circus looks very like Cirque du Soleil, whoa, crazy stuff. And like, that's not really how it looked in the script. It was a sort of a grimier vibe in the script, because I wanted to do a Victor Frankenstein movie where we built it from the ground up. Instead of coming into this guy's journey, I wanted to see the process of two dudes making this thing. And what's really weird is originally in my first script, they don't make Frankenstein. They don't make the monster Frankenstein. Even at the end, the thing at the end of the original draft I sold of that script has two heads, and it's this whole other sequence. And it's such a cool sequence, and the way it gets killed involves impaling it through two hearts. And there's this wonderful thing where Victor does the right thing and saves Igor and impales it on a spike through one of its hearts. But then it grabs him and like shish kebabs him onto it. So when Igor is fighting it with a torch, Victor is impaled on the front of it going, like that. And there was a bunch of shit. It was really cool. And it was very emotional in a different way. Yeah. The first and second act of that movie are very emotional and very about relationships and a lot of that's me. A lot of that's my stuff.
All of those parts, it sounds to me like the parts that I enjoyed the most about the movie was the stuff that you had wrote.
Once it becomes like the military wants you to build an army of monsters, that was not. And the original script had this crazy ending where it was so cool. And I really thought we were going to do it, where Victor and Igor, at the end of my original, the detective who's hunting them, who is super religious and hates Victor, Turpin. He hates Victor and he wants to shut him down, but then he goes crazier and crazier and he loses his hand. In my original draft, he hunts them all the way to fight the big monster when they create that, but then he's killed really tragically because he doesn't understand what's going on. And they still did that in the new one, kind of. Mm-hmm. But they're wanted all over England. They can't come back. And the final image of him is he goes, "Good," and he wakes up in the ruins of the castle, and he has the fork that brings you back to life. So and he sees that they did surgery on him while he was dead. And so in the original script, he was like losing more and more touch with reality and with his daughter as he was going crazy. They cut all the daughter stuff out of the movie, I think. But
they did.
Yeah, but he's like a crazy detective still in the movie, and that's all from my script. But then he totally loses touch with his daughter, and then the end of the movie and he's become obsessed with the case and Christianity. The end of the movie is he's brought back to life, and you see he reunites with his daughter, and he's like past it. He accepts it as a miracle. he's like, science is the miracle, and so, but then the end of the movies, you don't know where Victor and Igor went. And then you cut to the Old West, because it would be canonically the same time.
Yeah.
This black cowboy, Ben, and Ben is coming into town outside the Grand Canyon. And he's worried because this guy keeps making comments to him about his gun, because Ben has a very fancy gun. And he's, where'd you get that gun? You stole that gun. You stole that gun. I should take that gun. I should take that off your hands, buddy. You get caught with a gun like that, a black man in this town, you get caught with that gun, they're going to know you stole it. And Ben is like, motherfucking guy. And he goes, and then someone ends up recognizing him and is like, oh, you're maybe going to be the marshal in the town. Like Blazing Saddles style. Like, you're like, oh, you're here. And he's like, yeah, I got sent. I'm not liking the attitude on this guy out front. So he goes to the bar and the guy won't stop harassing him. And so he goes out and he's going to showdown with the guy. And it's going to be an Old West shootout. It's like this 3-minute sequence in the Old West at the end of Victor Frankenstein. And the whole movie, in the original draft, the problem is Victor nor Igor are good at fighting and are not tough. So every time they're in a bad situation, they have to run away. And throughout the movie, Victor always says, we need a third man. And the brains, you're the hands, I'm the brains, and he's the body. And together, we stitch the hands onto the body. We shove in the brains. And that's the man we need. And Igor, you cut to Igor like that. But that's from the first draft of the script. But so the end of the movie is Old West shootout. Ben wins, and then a guy shoots him in the back, and he's killed. And then you hear, and electricity. You're on a hot air balloon in a lightning storm over the Grand Canyon, and it's going like that. And Ben is strapped to this thing being brought back to life. And in the hot air balloon, what the fuck is that actor's name? He's so great. James McAvoy, Victor, is in the air balloon, and Radcliffe's behind him, and the guy comes back to life like that. And the final shot of the movie is them framed against the Grand Canyon with lightning strikes behind them. And Victor goes, I say, old boy, have you ever been to England? And the movie ends.
That was fucking good, dude.
I was
so
sick.
Fucking good.
But they were like, and they liked it at first. And it's, that was a fucking crazy script. I'm having so much fun pitching you guys. I have to go to yoga soon.
Oh, no, you're totally fine. You're totally fine. I'm
having so much. What else do you guys want to talk about?
So go ahead.
Go ahead. No, you're
okay.
Fine.
Well, I had 2 more questions. Sure. I don't know if you can.
I'll be.
I
sure
fucking love.
I pitch you whole things.
Oh, you're good, dude. I would love to have you back on just to fucking talk about whatever. Dirk Gently.
Yeah.
Goddamn, dude. That is one of my favorite shows, and I am so fucking pissed that we didn't get a season 3.
Oh, it sucks. I'm not too big a man to say it sucks. It sucks.
I'm just I'm heartbroken that never happened. But anyway, that show got me through the pandemic. Basically, I was just like,
fuck yeah, dude.
I don't know if maybe this is too loaded of a question for now, but
sure.
What were your plans for season 3? Because I heard once that Elijah Wood said had you guys pitched season 3 basically.
I did to season 5, yeah.
Oh goddamn!
I knew, and then I didn't have more. I had an ending in season 5, and I didn't have extra stuff.
5's good.
It all built to something. Season 3 was really. I mean, trying to pitch a season of Dirk Gently short is impossible.
Yeah, I know. That's why I was like, I don't even know if I should ask this question, but I love that show so much. The coolest,
I mean, you could ask about a character if you like a character, and I could tell you their kind of arc through the season, because it was so fucking. Season 3 was kind of a return to the more gritty feeling of season 1. Because we needed to go to that fantastical place to sort of establish some things I wanted. And I was very happy with that. But then we were kind of returning to a darker, more gritty tone like season 1, and more street level, more Fargo, like Fargo in space. And and one of the things we were doing in season 3 that I thought was really interesting was it's the first ever a person comes to the detective agency with a case. And it's the first time that's ever happened to Dirk. So Dirk is now being treated, instead of just being like an agent of the universe.
Yeah, it's just like, oh, it's holistic. We're just gonna go
It's
figure this
holistic.
out. It's like
He's being asked to solve a case with a specific outcome.
Yeah.
And so, but the case is a woman arrives at the detective agency, and she comes in, and she goes, "Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to come in here. I don't know what this place is. I'm looking for somewhere. This office used to be a different office." And Dirk's like, Todd is like, "This place has been empty for a long time. Like, we're the first office." And she's like, "Oh, well, I would just meant to come into, I thought this was my friend's office." She goes back outside, and they're like, "Okay." And then she comes back in, and she's like, "I can't find my car keys. Can I use one of your, I can't find my car keys. Can I use the phone here?" And they're like, "Yeah." And they take out a cell phone, and she looks at it, and she's like, "What's that?" And they're like, "What?" She doesn't recognize an iPhone. She's like very confused by a touchscreen cell phone. Shit. And she's like, "Okay, I'm going back outside." And they find her in the parking lot, and she goes, "My car isn't here. And this street's like way different." And they find out she has been missing for 19 years.
God damn.
And she just showed up in their parking lot looking for her car keys. So the case of the third season is, where are her car keys? And Dirk has to figure out where he has to find this pair of lost car keys. But it goes to this insane level that like, it's so cool. There's this whole thing with this like super wealthy Mexican family and aliens and human beings abducting aliens is one of the big twists midway through the season. I was really proud of it. It was very Dirk Gently.
Yeah.
And there was all sorts of fun stuff where, because I like the continuity of the show, we kept referencing previous things, but in subtle like ways. I was very excited. But yeah, it's heartbreaking.
Was everybody on board to come back for season 3? It seemed like everybody was like,
we got greenlit.
Yeah.
Greenlit, but we didn't. We got replaced by fucking
It was a Walking Dead show. It had
No, it wasn't. It was a show that was great that everybody loved. Killing Eve.
Okay.
Yeah, because BBC, we were doing pretty good. We were doing okay in the ratings, and we got really good reviews. But we actually found out it wasn't coming back like earlier that summer. And that's why I put such like a definitive ending on season 2, where like everybody's, you could kind of walk away with it instead of it being more of a dark cliffhanger like season 1.
Yeah.
Because
I definitely love it.
Oh, thank you so much, man.
Yeah, dude, it's awesome. I know you got to get going, so I'll ask these 2 questions.
We can do another question.
Okay, for sure. So one of the big questions we always like to ask people on this show, and this is a loaded one: have you had a paranormal experience, or have you witnessed any UFOs in your life?
So I used to tell a lie.
Okay.
I had a ghost story I would tell. And I'd tell it very convincingly. And I had a weird thing I told on another podcast that wasn't a lie, where I thought I heard a voice in the middle of the night at a boarding school I was in.
Okay.
But that felt like maybe it could have been the house and wasn't.
I always feel like there's some explanation. Like I've gone looking for these things and nothing happens to me.
I saw one of my most memorable experiences in my life was when I thought I saw a UFO, but I now know what that was. But it took years for me to realize what it was. Which
it was
is
Chinese spot balloon, wasn't it?
It was this.
It was. We were driving out in the desert in West Texas when we were driving my 2005 Honda Civic across the country in college, and in the middle of the night, I think my friend Dustin was driving, and I was resting. Maybe I was driving, and it was with Dustin, Chris, and David. R.I.P. Chris. But we were driving, and we saw a little orange light on the horizon at like 2 a.m. And it was like, and then it went, and went over the car. And it was this orange, like, it looked like I mean, it's, if I say what it is, you'll immediately know what it is. But when you don't have context for seeing what a drone looks like, the light on a drone, and it was a military thing. It was like 2000, maybe 7, and they were clearly testing something. But the way it moved, it was a circle, kind of, and I thought it was way bigger than it was when we first saw it because of the light. But now knowing the way it moved, it was probably like a little remote control drone. And so for a while, that was my UFO sighting. But now I'm pretty sure when I see a drone, it looks just like that. Like it doesn't, there's not like margin of the first time you see that little green and red light in the sky, you know, with a drone going around and someone with an arrow. And so like, the one thing I get is apophenia, pareidolia, where I get that really bad sometimes to a degree that it feels supernatural. Where I'll think the other week, this is not an impressive story, but the other week I was saying on the phone to my friend, I think this will be a big win. And then 5 seconds later in the YouTube video I was watching, the guy said, I think this will be a big win. And like, I've experienced a lot of little things like that, but who knows if that's just like the onset of schizophrenia or like, you know what I mean? Like they are.
I can relate. I've had that happen a lot, especially like in the last couple of like, I want to say like from October to December, that shit happened to me like constantly.
Yes,
like,
same.
Just patterns and things that I'm just like, why am I seeing this? Like, what is
its
going on?
matrix is breaking down.
Yeah, it's not out of the realm of our wheelhouse here because we've talked everything from time travel to universes to time slips to cryptids to so all of it's under this huge umbrella of fantastical maybe, and we're trying to.
Oh my God, I'd wanna see a Sasquatch in the wild so bad because have you ever had an experience with just like an animal? That's like that where you encounter an animal in the wild and it's like, whoa, he's right there.
Yeah, like something really elusive.
Like I saw a moose. And we were looking at each other like, you're over there and I'm over here. And we see each other and you're big. You're giant and I'm small. And I'm in the wilderness right now. And like, that was really emotional and powerful and intense to even see a fucking moose. And like one time I had that dumbly enough with a manatee in the Keys in Florida, where he was on the beach with me. And I was like, wow, we're just on the beach together. You're a manatee and we're having this experience together. And then like having that with Sasquatch, that would be like the most special, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Like, no, it would be interesting.
I used to have a weird, vivid dream where I was riding a roller coaster with Sasquatch, but we were running from the FBI. So, I mean,
what the fuck?
Get off the roller coaster. It takes you back to the start.
Yeah. It didn't in the dream, though. It just kept going. That's how we outran them.
Oh, that's the dream roller coaster.
Yeah.
It's the roller coaster that you escape on. When I ride roller coasters a lot, I'll like let myself feel like, oh, this is what it would feel like to be like be a superhero. This is what the G-forces would feel like on your body. This is what it would feel like to kind of be Iron Man. And when you think of it that way, being a superhero suddenly seems like this incredibly visceral and intense experience of like wind whipping past your ears. And like, you know, like being a superhero seems like wild when you like physically place yourself in it, if that makes sense.
No. Yeah. Well, some of it seems really painful. Like I wouldn't want to be the Thing. You know?
Yeah. Oh
like,
God.
I don't know why. That just seems like
if you really think about being the Thing, that's like really body horror. Like,
yeah, that's like, this is some Cronenberg shit.
What's your penis look like?
Yeah, it's like I need to know.
Yeah, like how do you take a shit though?
That's another good question. Like there's so many. These are like, goddamn.
That's why you see all those stacked stones beside the rivers. It's Thing wandering around taking big shits.
It's Ben Grimm taking those stacked stones. That explains everything.
It's fucking. I'm so sorry. I have one final question.
Okay, good.
Germ's gonna kill me. Germ's gonna kill me if I don't ask this. He's a huge DC guy. The Long Halloween. He wanted to know, who would you cast in a live action version of The Long Halloween?
Oh,
I know, it's such a goddamn.
Would you use Jensen Ackles that played the voice of Batman for The Long Halloween?
No.
Supernatural. Aw.
I like Jensen Ackles, but no. That's so hard. The Long Halloween. It's asking
I
someone to cast the entire DC Rogues Gallery.
know, it's fucking wild. Maybe
Carmine Falcone. I think Bryan Cranston.
Oh, damn, that's really good.
That's real good.
Yeah.
And really touch in. The Long Halloween is such a long story that touch in on the feeling. The key of making a Long Halloween movie would be the feeling of reality slipping away, because the Long Halloween is the end of the Falcones. I think it's all the murders, and it's also Two-Face, I believe.
Yeah.
And it's also, orchestrated ultimately by Calendar Man.
Just a strange fucking character.
So interesting. Well, just the idea of a supervillain mastermind whose ideas play out over a long amount of time through many small incidences is really exciting. So one of the things you would have to do to make that movie work is it would have to be a whodunit. You would have to change it so that Calendar Man could be a person we could meet without him being in the cell. So that we wouldn't know who the Calendar Man killer is. And I wouldn't have it be like the standard domestic terrorist Batman story where it's a nebulous figure we're hunting. I would have there be suspects. So I think you have room for a lot of great actors and suspects. For Batman, I would like to cast... For the Batman of the Long Halloween. Wow, that's a different thing.
Yeah.
That's a really different thing. You need a thoughtful, methodical actor with incredible screen presence. He doesn't need to be tremendously physical, although there are some fights, but not too much. I think Liam Neeson, if he's not too old. I think portraying him as a sort of older Dark Knight adjacent, but sort of a different evolution than the Dark Knight Returns, an evolution more towards the detective than the brute. I think almost doing it like a Sherlock Holmes story. Or Ray Fiennes would also be an incredible Batman, which is a crazy thing for me to say, maybe.
I'm having a hard time picturing that. Yeah.
Because I'm not looking for Ray Fiennes. Who I'm really looking for... You know who'd be wonderful? If Jake Gyllenhaal would be a wonderful Batman.
He would. He really fucking would.
Yeah, and he could add. That's who I'm looking for, because it's more about the presence and the quiet broodingness. He's bigger physically than Pattinson. He can actually do the fights in a realer way. But also, I'm now like going through a rogues gallery. What the fuck is his name? Lincoln and There Will Be Blood.
Oh, Andrew Lincoln. Oh wait, no. Sorry, I'm thinking. My fault. Walking Dead.
What's his name? He's like the great actor. My Left Foot.
Oh my god.
He's in every great movie. The fucking he's in a fucking Phantom Thread.
Daniel Day-Lewis.
I think.
God
would be
damn, I don't know. My brain.
Oh, that would be good.
Yeah, I think Daniel Day-Lewis is my final pick for an elder Batman. And
that's an interesting pick, yeah.
Yeah, and really bring power to it. And I think I want
about the Gyllenhaal thing.
Yeah, no, Gyllenhaal's interesting, and I think I want Leonardo DiCaprio to play Harvey Dent. I think that would be really interesting because it's Long Halloween. This is like really smart, big filmmaking. Yeah. This is not a superhero thing. It's like a weird,
it's very
out noir mystery. And then Commissioner Gordon. I'm really like thinking about this. Sorry, I'm like really giving it a lot of consideration. I think it'd be really interesting to have like a younger Commissioner Gordon and an older Batman. What?
Ice Cube. We're going Ice Cube.
I was thinking Oscar Isaacs.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I could see that.
As new Commissioner Gordon, who has to deal with the Batman, and the Batman is like representative in the Long Halloween of the tide of things changing from normal criminals to like crazy land. And by the end of it, it's like you've been in crazy land this whole time with Calendar Man. It's always been headed to the cartoon version of this story.
Yeah.
You know, you can't escape the Falcones. The real criminals are dying. The district attorney is turning into a monster. Gotham is a haunted house. Is Solomon Grundy in Long Halloween?
I don't remember. It's been so long.
I feel like he is. Grundy is such a weird character.
I'll have to ask him sometime.
I think he is actually. Don't quote me, but I think he is.
Yeah, don't quote me either. Don't quote any of us from this.
Yeah, we're just.
No, we don't.
It's a podcast, people. Come on.
Oh man.
Okay, I gotta go, guys.
Yeah, dude, you're good, Max. Thank you for coming on, my dude. I really appreciate it.
What a pleasure. Thank you for letting me talk about all these things we all like,
dude. Fucking anytime, anytime.
No problem. It was great.
Steal him to Sami Zayn to get us started. That was fun.
I know, right? We gotta keep that. We gotta keep that energy. Hey, maybe some other time we can jump back and talk some.
Oh, I'd be happy to sometime. I'm getting my tailbone removed at the end of the month.
Goddamn. Well, good luck with the surgery. Big time.
Yeah,
like that's brutal.
I'm not happy about it.
I wouldn't be either.
I'm going to try to get them to put it in a lucite block.
What?
I thought that would be pretty cool, right?
You really need.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Can they do that? Yeah, they can fucking do anything nowadays.
Yeah, you could do that for sure. If you can put a baconator in one of those blocks, then
oh Jesus Christ! All right. Well, thanks for joining us again, Max, and keep it spooky out there, everybody.
Thank you so much. That was great, guys.